Real talk for the walk. Check your hang-ups at the door, and let's begin to explore. Let's go. Let's go. All right, welcome. Oh, wait 1 second. I need to close this. 1 second. How's everyone doing? Hope you're having an amazing week. We got a great show for you today. And we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff that you're going to find interesting. 1 second. Okay. So, you are watching Temple of Divine TV. I am your host, High Priestess Makita Divine, and we are here for Real Talk for the Walk. Real Talk for the Walk on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, comment, share, call. What number do you call, High Priestess? 313-355-6018. 313-355-6018. So let's get into the content. I know you're getting used to the format by now. So we're going to start with In the Matrix. So what's been going on in the Matrix? So just for the new people joining, The Matrix is kind of a play on the movie The Matrix, where there's like this reality that looks very, ordered and prim and proper, and everything's a certain way. And you go to work and you come home and you go to baseball games, and it's very on the surface. Then underneath there's like the real world, and it's dark and it's ugly, and it's so this concept of two different realities. And so in The Matrix, we look at a popular event or something that happened, that was in the news, and then we break it down a little bit from a spiritual perspective to help really make sense out of our spirituality and not make it all mumbo jumbo and woo woo. It's really real life reality. So we're going to start with In the Matrix. We're going to talk about In the Vortex. In the Vortex is about kind of that place where all your thoughts are in the process of becoming things and creating your reality. And we talk about the ability that you have, whether you know it or not, the ability that you have to create your own reality. So we go in the vortex, and then we go into the spirit, where we talk about all that spiritual stuff, that seems a little woo-woo, but it's really not, believe it or not. And then if we have time, we go in the mind and the body and lyrics to live by. So stay tuned until the end, because that's when we have the rocking lyrics to live by, and you don't want to miss the highlighted tune for today. Okay. So In the Matrix this week, let me get my notes here. Hold up. In the Matrix this week, let's talk about Joe Rogan. Let's talk about Joe Rogan and what that bad boy did. Okay. Let's talk about it. So Joe Rogan is, wait 1 second. Joe Rogan is a very, very successful podcaster whose podcast was actually purchased by Spotify, and it's valued now at about around $100 million. Okay, so he's like a big deal podcaster. He's one of the top podcasts, the Joe Rogan Experience, right? So it's a top podcast. And what he did, and what he's known for, I can't see my notes. I'm gonna have to wing it. So what he's known for is having guests on to basically, share conversations and their perspective on things. And he made the mistake of bringing on a guest that said something that was about the COVID. Yes, I said it. So now all the ears on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top media platforms are perked up because I said the word. But here's what he did. So the guy, he basically just said something to the effect of, if you're healthy, you don't need to wear masks. Like, it was something really, to me, it was pretty simple and straightforward to me. And I personally believe the same thing, but I don't have $100 million podcast. So I don't think anybody's going to have any issue with me. But the thing that made it have more media is a couple of really well-known artists pulled away their shows from Spotify. So in other words, they were like, well, if you're going to have this guy out here spouting, controversial, non-substantiated COVID information, then we're just not going to have our music here on Spotify. Now, Joe Rogan had said a whole bunch of other stuff that people didn't like too. Like there's one lady who she tracked how many times Joe Rogan said the N-word or something like that, right? So he's got other things. And whenever somebody is out speaking, controversial topics or things that are not along lines with the mainstream, there's always going to be kind of this outpouring of overly righteous, self-righteous people who are going to have something to say about it and think that it's not right, and they're going to take a stand. And that's cool. I don't have anything against those people. But the thing that's interesting in the Matrix when there's something like this happens is that, and I had a podcast I was going to share, but I'm having trouble here. But the thing that's interesting is that the concept of what is the truth and the concept of who shares the truth and the level of credence or credibility the truth is, it's just really, really interesting to see the dynamic. And so in this podcast that I was going to share, the guy talks about what is truth, and depending, and is truth detrimental depending on who says it. And I would say, what do you think? Call me 313-355-6018. Like, does it matter to you who the truth comes from? Now, I know you may be like, well, listen, if Boo Boo the Fool said don't wear a mask, I'm not going to listen to Boo Boo the Fool, because I know, after all, it's Boo Boo the Fool. But say, for example, Boo Boo the Fool found a bunch of people who were following Boo Boo the Fool and got a podcast and had really, really, millions of people following Boo Boo the Fool. And Boo Boo the Fool got somebody like, I don't know, say Spotify to pay them some money for him to talk the same stuff that he was talking to down the block in front of a whole bunch of other people. Now, is Boo Boo the Fool's truth any more true than it was when you were talking to him around the way? Or is it just because Boo Boo the Fool got a new platform and so now it's more impactful? What do you think about that? Call in 313-355-6018. So in the Matrix, the reason it is the Matrix is that really everything that's true is true for you. So depending on what level you are in society and what impact you have on people, of course, it's going to make a difference. So in this case, they were talking about, the C word, COVID. Yeah, I said it again. And there's a lot of misinformation, and people do it all the time. And there's misinformation that was intended to be misinformation. And sometimes it's just misinformation because we share the best information we have at the time. And then we get additional information later on that then invalidates what we really thought was true at the time. So does that make it any less true, or does it just make it outdated, right? So from a perspective of, as it relates to COVID, where is High Priestess on, vaccination and all that? Yeah, I'm going to go there. So from my perspective and from a spiritual perspective, in the context of where we are today, I think it's important to understand that people are in different positions of what they believe. And because I know that what I believe, the thoughts I continue to think, which make up my fundamental beliefs, since I know that that is creating my reality, that means that if I believe that I am in danger, and if I believe that I'm gonna kill over if I get something, then then I see something like a vaccine that I believe is going to help me to not have that negative experience, then for me, the vaccine is required. Because, and in fact, some people were rushing to get the vaccine, right? So for that person, it's important that they get it. Now, another statistic that I heard from Abraham Hicks, who is, it's like a non-physical entity that channels through Esther Hicks and previously Jerry Hicks before he transitioned. So is that 95% of the people in the world are not connected to their non-physical identity. In other words, even though we are eternal spiritual beings, and we have a physical presence that we have exist in here on the planet, and we have a non-physical existence that is our higher self, 95% of the people in the world don't know that. So that means that if we are living in a society where 95% of the people are not connected with the essence of their eternal spiritual selves, then they need the vaccine, right? Because they are thinking, oh my gosh, and it actually is not going to help in the sense that if they believe they're going to die if they get it. So here's the thing. So you can get it, you get the vaccine, and you go, oh, I'm safe now, right? But what if you get it anyway? Now in your mind you believe you're going to die, so no matter what, it's kind of like it's kind of like a moot point. But in the matrix, as best as we can experience as being and living in the matrix, this place where we are, if you believe that you need it, you should get it. If you don't believe that you need it, then don't get it. But here's the thing, and I had coffee with someone, a friend this morning, and they shared this, and I thought, you're right. You just need to stay in your lane. So if you are one of those people who are like, oh my gosh, I have to get it, and in fact, you know what? You need to get it too. You need to stay in your lane. You get it because you need to get it because you believe that you need it. And then this person over here doesn't need to get it. They don't get it. And then you guys stay in your lane. The people who get it, don't try to force the people who didn't get it to get it. Just leave them alone. Be happy. Hang out with the people who got it. The people who don't want to get it, don't try to make fun of and make people feel bad for feeling like they need to get it. Just hang out with the people who didn't get it and stay in your lane, right? In the matrix, you have to operate within the framework that you're operating in. And in this case, where we've got so much misinformation, and really it's all misinformation, because what's true depends on who it is and who said it and who has the most following behind them, because people believe what they want to believe. And so any you could come up with any statement, okay? And I assure you, you can find somebody, no matter how false you think it is and no matter how much data you got to back you up, there is somebody out there who's going to say no, that's wrong. So true is what's true to you. And so I say, High Priestess Makita in the Matrix says, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. That's the lesson for today, boys and girls. And you are watching Temple of Divine TV, Real Talk for the Walk, with your host, High Priestess Makita Divine. And we are talking about In the Matrix. We're streaming live on WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world, on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. And listen, I want you to like, comment. You know what? Comment below. Like, are you like a vaccine person or a non-vaxxer? They even got a name for it, the non-vaxxers. Oh, and for the record, yes, High Priestess has had the vaccination. But listen, I was afraid on one way or the other. The only reason I had it was because my family was spazzing out about it. So I wasn't in a position where I was like, oh, I'm not going to get it. And I was like, I don't care, because I control my reality and my physical experiences. So it didn't matter to me either way. It made them feel happier and more relaxed. So I got it. Okay, but anyway, so listen, call in. Are you a vaxxer or non-vaxxer? And are you going to stay in your lane, or do you feel like, man, people got to do this thing? And should Joe Rogan, like I was really impressed with the fact that Spotify didn't cancel him, because it's like somebody has to be like, you guys are full of yourselves. Go do something else. But what do you think? Should major companies? I've even seen this with Facebook. Can I share this? Okay, I'm on a sidebar. But I went out. I found a person who I seem to resonate with. I went out on Facebook, and they had a post, and it was actually kind of interesting, because it was a picture of a mosquito. Okay, I want you to picture this, right? It was a picture of a mosquito, like a cartoon of a mosquito, and the mosquito had like a needle in his hand, and it says, every year your government comes up with a reason to blame us for something so they can create a vaccine to force you to take. I mean, okay, that's what the cartoon said. I was like, oh, I kind of like, I kind of like this. Let me go find this page, right? So I went to the page. And when I went to the page, I liked the page. It wouldn't let, and then so when I clicked to like the page, Facebook gave me a message that said, this content is not found to be in line with the community guidelines. You might want to look at this again before you like the page. I'm serious. I'm so serious. I should put in the content in the comments, the link to the site, right? So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I see where this is going, but I want to like it. So I go to like it again. It won't let me like it, right? It won't let me just like it without giving me that message. So we're always being manipulated all the time on what is true and what is not true. What do we agree with and what do we not agree with? And the people who have the most money have the most ability to manipulate. This is why High Priestess says you need to just get out of the matrix and go inside. And that's our next segment, is in the vortex. Because in the vortex is where reality is. In the vortex is where your thoughts become a reality. That's where it happens. It's a name for a space where thoughts gain momentum to become reality. And I talked about last week about that recipe where things come together, and then depending on where your vibration is, they materialize in your life in one way or the other, right? And so the challenge with living in the matrix without this connection to the vortex is you think that everything you see and hear and touch and smell is real. And you sometimes think things can't be changed. And you sometimes think people can't be changed. And you sometimes think that circumstances can't be changed. And you sometimes may be hopeless. But the reality is that everything that's in the matrix is subject to change. If you understand the power that you have as an eternal spiritual being, and you understand how to use it. Okay? Now, the challenge is you're using it all the time. You're absolutely using it all the time. High Priestess is speaking from her own personal experience. I would have nothing less than you learn and speak from your personal experience. Just do it, try it. But the reality is, every single time you think a thought, you're feeding the vortex. Every time you think a thought, then that thought either takes form and gains momentum because you continue to think it over and over again, because a belief is just a thought you continue to think, right? So as you think a thought, I'm going to die if I don't get this thing. Okay. If you check that thought and be like, oh, that's ridiculous. Listen, huh? You're healthy. You do this, you do that. You take care of yourself. You're fine. Don't even worry about it. Okay. You could toss it down and take that view, or you could let that thought, I'm going to die, gain momentum. Okay. This is what we're talking about. And it works no matter what. Like, there are a lot of people who will watch this show and they'll be like, she's talking about that law of attraction stuff. That's a bunch of hooey. It didn't work for me. It doesn't work. It's crazy. But let me tell you something. It's the only thing that works. And if you look at your life and you really were to be honest and just look at different periods of your life and say, what thoughts were you thinking during that period of time? And what thoughts did you begin to think right before your life turned around? And you'll notice that there is definitely a correlation between the thoughts you were thinking and the reality that you experience. And that's all that we're talking about when we talk about the vortex. It's very real and it's very common, and it's very much what we experience every single day today. Now, I had an interesting, I was listening to an interesting video, and there was a person who came on and they were challenging Abraham, right? So I'm just tell you right now, I'm a big Abraham Hicks. I resonate very well. But a ton of people I resonate with over time, because your spiritual journey is really a journey. So there's some people that I resonated with a long time ago that I don't resonate with anymore, because I was able to obtain or extract what I needed for them. It's like, and then I went on to the next rung on the ladder. And that's the way your life is. You get exposed. That's why you're here. You get exposed to different concepts. You evaluate them. You see if they fit. You find out what you resonate with, and then you move on. There's another level, right? So at this point, I'm at the Abraham Hicks level, and it resonates with me a lot. But I found it interesting. This is always good. This is why controversy is good, as long as we understand how to manage our emotions and have a mature conversation about disparate views. And that is that a guy came on. They have cruises and things where all they do is talk about this stuff. And there's, not a whole lot of people, as you can imagine, the 5%. But he said, you know what? I don't believe this. I don't believe that people create their own reality. I don't believe that Holocaust victims had anything to do with that. I don't believe that all this terrible stuff. I just don't believe that it's ever going to be better. And I'm going to die before things get better. And even then, it's just impossible. It's not going to happen. None of this, I started to say, none of this shit works. None of this stuff works. And so here he is face to face with Abraham, right? They're having this conversation. And so the answer was, and I really resonate with the answer. The answer was that you can be so steeped in a belief. In other words, because of your conditioning, because of how you've grown up, because of who you've been involved with and experiences that you had, you can believe that everything around you, it can't change. The minute you close your mind and you say, no, that can't change, you're right. I don't argue with people. I don't have, I can tell when somebody is open and when they're not open. And if they're not open, like their mind is made up, it's nothing for me to say. I only want to participate with you if you want to participate with me. And we can, sometimes I learn things and that I can apply. And sometimes I learn things that make me go, let me see, how does that work with my belief system? But it's important for you to have that dynamic. But the point was that in this conversation about the vortex and how we're creating our own reality and whether or not we in fact have the ability to create our own reality is really dependent upon you. If you don't believe it's true, then it won't be true for you. It won't be. No matter what you do, no matter books you read, no matter how many friends you have and all that kind of stuff, it'll never be true for you. Because really and truly, what you believe is what's dictating your reality, right? So, and that was the answer. And I like the way Abraham just kind of let him go. He said, this is the reality that you have decided to accept. This is what you want to know is real. And therefore, if you've made a decision on how things are going to be, if you made a decision that the world is bad, we're going to hell in a handbasket, Jesus is coming back, it's all over, let me just go make sure I contact all the people that I love that I haven't contact with because it's going to be over soon, then you're right. You're right. But if you say, man, you know what? It's a beautiful world. It's a beautiful world. Yes, it's unfortunate that, there's so many people that have died, but we don't know what they really died from. Listen, we're so unhealthy. And in my opinion, there's a whole bunch I want to see the number of deaths that are directly related just to the virus itself. I want to pull out all the people who had heart disease, cancer, and all other kind of diseases. I want to pull them out and just be like, okay, how many people really? And I wish that when we report stats, that they would just do that. Okay, here's the total number that died just from the virus. Here's the people who were unhealthy anyway, and they were going to die of something, and this just helped them along. And then I want to see the movements and the initiatives that help people become healthier. I want to see the initiatives that help people breathe better. I want to see the initiatives that help you to eat better. I want to see the same people that are out here talking about how everybody needs to be vaccinated. I want to see them starting a fitness program. I want to see them to eat better food. I want to see them really take responsibility for their health, not just wave the flag because it's popular right now and because mainstream media is throwing you a bunch of negative news and stats that aren't supported in a fair and distributed way. I want to see those people. That's what I really want to say. Okay, I just totally digressed. I got on a little bit of a wicket there, but my point is that it seems like that we need to be more focused on being healthy and get to the root of the problem and not be caught in the matrix. Okay, not be in the matrix, getting caught up in all the news and everything that keeps you in a flurry, but to work on your vortex by connecting with you and thinking about how you want the reality to be. Because whatever you want it to be, that's what it'll be for you. Okay. No one's called me hey, call me. I know there's got to be an opinion on one side or the other side of what I just said. I know it. If you're sitting there and you're going, she doesn't know what she's talking about, it's very important. We have to have, the vaccinations. Call me, 313-355-6018. If you like, you go, girl, you telling, that's absolutely right. Okay, you know what? Call me, 313-355-6018, because this is real talk for the walk. This is not, oh, pray for me, pray for so and so. Everything is going to be all right. Jesus is coming. This is not that. This is real talk. This is like, how do I manage my life and my existence in this world that I live in and make sense of it all? This is how. In the vortex, you can make sense of the matrix. If you're just in the matrix, it's not a very happy place to be. So, with that, I'm going to go to my next segment, which is in the spirit. And okay, it's Valentine's Day is coming up. And I was going to do some conversation about relationships and from a spiritual perspective, but I had some things happen to me in the last couple of days where I was like, you know what? I feel like I need to talk about energy, and I need to talk about vibes, and I need to create a context for people to understand what is happening and what all these different spiritual things mean and how they relate to each other. So I want to paint a picture. Okay. So there are a lot of I was listening to I listen to a lot of YouTube videos, but I was listening to a story about this person who had actually pulled out a copy of Think and Grow Rich. I think it was Think and Grow Rich. And they had read this book. It's by Napoleon Hill. I mean, you may be familiar with it, right? And he went to a bookstore, and there was this really old version of the book. Okay, the original. It said the original version. And so he bought the original version, and then he bought like the newest version. And he went through and he compared line for line the new version against the original version. Okay. And what was missing, you'll find interesting. Okay. Because what was missing from the mainstream version and the most current version, or what had been taken out, was all references to the vibrational universe. All the references he talked about us living in a vibrational universe, being vibrational beings, all of that had been removed from the book. And in fact, the same person was supposed to be in The Secret. They actually did tapings that were going to be included in the movie The Secret, and they were taken out. This is why there can be so many people that say, oh, well, The Secret, that doesn't work. Oh, Law of Attraction, that doesn't work. You know why? Because you didn't get all the details. So we live in a vibrational universe. And you're familiar with this. You know what this is about. Because somebody will say, oh, they had a bad vibe. Oh, I just wasn't feeling him. Oh, I just wasn't feeling her. Well, every time I go around that person, oh, honey, they're just too negative. You're very familiar with the concepts around living in a vibrational universe, in a vibrational world. You just don't connect it with the spirituality piece. You understand conceptually what it's like that you can be around somebody and you just don't feel good. You can connect with the fact that some people, you're just not happy to be around them. And you can even, you would go to a haunted house and you'd be like, ooh, I just felt weird. So you're familiar with the concept, but listen, okay. You are a vibrational being. Seriously. If you don't believe me, call in 313-355-6018. Come on, talk to me. This is real talk for the walk. This is not High Priestess just sharing some stuff to be telling you what you need to do. This is not religion. This is about sharing information that you can pull in, that you're ready for. Because if you weren't ready for it, you wouldn't be here right now listening to it. So it's taking the information and then you deciding what you want to do with it. But you are vibrational. What does that mean? How does that work, High Priestess? Here's how it works. When you think a thought, you send out a vibration. And we talked about that. Like we talked about the momentum that it gains, and we talked about law of attraction, all that kind of stuff. But In this environment, you are also, in addition to your flesh and blood body, which you may want to lose a few pounds like me, and in addition to your carnal beastly body, you also have an energy body. And you may have heard people talk about your aura and how you're always transmitting. The reality is you're always transmitting who you are and the path that you're on, because every outcome based on your actions, every outcome already exists. So when you make a right turn instead of a left turn, you alter your reality. Okay? When you say yes to something instead of no, when you say yes to a person instead of no, every decision and choice that you're making, you're kind of hopping on, kind of jumping on a different version of reality for you that's going to generate a different outcome. Okay? So why are you bringing this up, high priestess? I don't understand. I'm not following you. Because there are a lot of practitioners. Okay, there's tarot card readers, there's psychic readers, there's shadow work coaches, there's um, life, people who read the Akashic records. There's all types of spiritists and meditation and all these people and gurus and all that, right? And at first I was afraid to deal with those people. Like I was like, okay, what kind of woo-woo mess is this? Until I discovered this one thing that will set you free about it. They're only reading the energy that you are setting forth. In other words, they're not giving you any information that you could not tap into yourself if you were connected with yourself. They're not pulling something out of the air and giving it to you. This is why it can be accurate, right? Because you're like a little satellite signal. So just picture like there's this big pool that's source energy. Let's call it God, okay? The source energy, this pool. And when you became an individual, okay, then you pulled out. So I'm the high priestess. I'm the high priestess drop. And you may be, the I don't know, the Candy drop, or you may be the Lucy drop, or the Robert drop. Okay, as an individual, you're taking that same source energy and you're bringing it here to have an experience that you determined before you came. Right? You're having it. You're here to have an experience. That's why it's okay to be selfish, because you're here to have an experience and you're creating your reality. Okay, so you came here and you are having an experience and you are vibrating, emanating the energy signature that is you. You're like a little satellite. So the high priestess satellite drop is emanating an energy. And other people who are emanating a similar energy to the high priestess drop are going to be drawn to high priestess. And other people who are emanating the Robert drop are going to be drawn to Robert. But that's still uniquely you. So what these practitioners do is they read your signal. Okay. So I'm saying that to say, I'm saying that to say, one, definitely find a great practitioner if you need it to help you to learn more about yourself inside. And two, when you do find a practitioner, whether it's Reiki or, psychic or whatever it is, understand that whatever information they give you, you can change it. Okay. So say you go, I'm talking about this every week, but say you go to someone and they give you an outcome. They say, oh, this is going to happen to you. The thing you have to understand about that is it's only going to happen to you if you own that thought and you say, oh, that's going to happen to me. And you don't want to change it. But if you wanted to change it, you could. Okay. That's my message to you. If you wanted to change it, you could. So you don't have to be afraid of the practitioners, right? Don't be afraid of them. Be grateful for them because they have a talent that allows them to read your energy and tell you kind of what path you're on. But look at it as more of an exploration so you can say, oh, I see this path I'm on. I don't like that outcome. I think I'm going to change it. And then you begin, how do you change your high priestess? You begin to change it by thinking different thoughts and focusing on what you do want and not what you don't want. Okay? That's how we build the vortex. We focus on the things that we do want And when you focus on things that you, let me back up. The way you put things into vortex is you have experiences in your life that you don't like. You identify something you do like. That goes into your vortex. Without the contrast and the things that you don't like and you don't want to experience, you wouldn't know what you wanted. Okay. So that's how you grow it. That's how you determine what you want to create. Okay. That makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, just hang on for a minute and think about it. It'll make sense eventually. Okay. So that's what I want to talk about in the spirit. In the spirit, my main message is don't be afraid of practitioners. And two, trust yourself and your instinct and know that you are the ultimate director of your reality. You are the ultimate director. So it's not going to be, your psychic or your trainer or your guru or anything like that. You actually have all the power. Okay. So that's what I want to share on that topic. And then, shoot, I can't. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about is in the in the mind. In the mind. Okay. So what I'm going to share today in the mind, I'm going to share with you something I learned from my dog. My dog. My dog. So I have a new puppy. Okay. And I've been having some issues with my puppy. To be quite honest, I've been having issues with my puppy, training the puppy. I don't have time to train the puppy. I'm not a good puppy trainer. And so we've been a little bit like not getting along. I mean, we've been getting along because she's really sweet and she has a really calm disposition. And so we're kind of working through it. But I noticed something really delightful about my puppy. And I wanted to share that with you because honestly, when we talk about creating our reality, I think that this one thing is something that if you could just get a handle on this one thing, then it would tremendously change the direction of your life forever. And I didn't really get it at first. And today, as I was eating and feeding her, I discovered the secret to the secret and to all that other stuff. And so when we talk about, so we talked about the vortex, we talked about step one being having this contrast and decide what you do like. But here's the key part. When I sit down, so basically what I do is I sit down and I prepare my meal and she's a puppy, so she's like all around my ankles the whole time I'm cooking. Wherever I walk, she walks. Sometimes I step on her. I haven't heard her yelp like I haven't stepped on her that bad yet, but literally she's like around my ankles the whole time I'm cooking. So right. So if I turn around, she's there. She never lets me out of her sight. Ever. Never, ever, ever, ever. When I don't have her in the cage, right? So and I was thinking about source energy and how one of the greatest enemies to your success, one of the greatest enemies to you experiencing a wonderful life here on earth is distraction, right? So I started thinking about how, there's so many distractions in the world. There's so much with news, and you've got family, and you've got spouses, and you've got relationships, and you've got, you have Facebook, you got social media, there's so many things going on. So if you're not taking time to meditate, there's just no way you can really do a great job of creating your own reality, right? So I talked before about meditation. If you don't have meditation, I have one that I created myself, actually, that I can share with you. Happy to share with you. Just put meditation in the comments below here, and I'll send you the information. But what meditation is calming yourself and disconnecting from the distractions so you can connect to source, right? Okay, so it sounded like a digress, but it's not a digress. But before I get into it, let me do a quick station break. So you're watching Temple Divine TV with your hostess, High Priestess Makita Divine. And we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. Please make sure to like, share, comment, call 313 355-6018. And listen, if you want to keep Real Talk for the Walk moving, then feel free to donate. Cash App is $M is in Mary, D is in Donald, Temple of Divine, MD Temple of Divine on Cash App. Feel free to donate. We take dollars, we take hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars, whatever you want to give. If you find something helpful to you, then definitely feel free to donate if you like. And call in. It's really important to me to have a conversation. Like, I want to have real talk. So we'll have guests coming up. Always on this show, always feel free to call in. Your picture's not going to show up at all. Your voice will be on here. You can ask your question and then hop off real quick. But it's safe to call. It's okay to call. I'm never going to kind of belabor or discount your opinion, even if it's different than mine, because all opinions, all viewpoints have value. And I think it's important for us to have a dialogue and have a real talk about kind of these weird principles that, quite honestly, a lot of people are exploiting. A lot of spiritual influencers are exploiting our ignorance in so many areas. So it's important. This is a place where you can have real talk and have a dialogue. And I might not know the answer. I'm most likely going to turn you back to you, because you have the most important connection and you are the smartest person on the planet, in the universe, in fact, about you and who you are. So with that, let me go back to my dog story. So my puppy, we're in the kitchen. She's walking around. She's like clipping at my heels, right? Because she knows I'm cooking. So I take my food. I go to the dining room table. I'm sitting there, right? I'm eating. She's sitting there. She goes to her bowl. She eats, and then she comes back, because she knows that the food that I have on my plate is probably better than the food that's in her bowl. In other words, you got to imagine it. This is the source. I have the good food, and you got some other little food you eating over there, kibbles and bits, is going to keep you going. But the real food, like the eggs with the salsa and the salmon and the chicken and all that stuff, is over here. So what she does, and I know I got to train her to do better than this, but literally, I'll take a little bitty piece of something, a little bitty piece, and I'll just hold it in front of her. And her eyes are peeled on it. They're like, and everywhere I move the food, okay, it's like her eyes are not moving. I go over here, she's here. I go down there, she's here. I go over here. She does not let her eyes off of that piece, that little piece of something that she just thinks is going to be good just because it's in my hand. Okay? What are you talking about, High Priestess? How does this relate to me and my reality and having a better life? Listen, she just keeps focusing on what she wants and not what she doesn't want. Okay? Think about how your life would change. Like, if you just focused on what you want and you did not focus or give any attention to what you did not want. So if you want a healthy body, what if you just said, you know what? I know that my source creator wants me to have a healthy body because I need a healthy body to operate and function here on the planet Earth. It's my Earth suit. I have to have a healthy body. And you were like, I don't really know everything that God has planned for me right here. I don't know what it all is, but I know it's going to be good. I know it's going to be good. So I need to be around so I can get some of that, because I know it's going to be good. I don't know. I can smell it. She'll be in my puppy. She'll be in the kitchen. She'll be like looking around to see if I drop something. Like, what's a little blessing over here? Is there a little blessing over there? She's always sniffing, looking for her blessing. Right? So what if you change your perspective in your life and you were like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on health. I'm not going to focus on anything that's going around me. I'm going to focus on health. What can I do to be healthy? What do healthy people do? What's a healthy food I can eat? Oh, what else is this? Oh, there's some more healthy people. I think I'll hang around with them because they must be close to the source of health. What if you just did that? What if you just didn't even think about anything other than just the healthy you? What if you kept looking and anticipating the goodness that is to come to you from the help from your source? What if you just, instead of looking for things that weren't what you want, what if you just were sniffing around like, looking for good stuff. Oh, where's that? Okay, I know if I just stay close to the source of the food, this is my puppy. If I just stay close to the source of the food, she about to drop me a blessing sooner or later. I know it's coming. I'm just gonna sit here and wait. And she'll just be sitting there waiting for the good thing to come. Okay, now let's break it down on the other side. Sometimes she's shitting her house. Okay, sometimes when you're in the house and you got to go, you got some stuff you got to get rid of, right? You got some stuff it's building up. You got to get rid of. You got some bad attitude. You got some, bad habits. Maybe you're addicted to some stuff. Maybe maybe you like a sex addict, drug addict, whatever it is. You got some stuff, and you just got to let go of it. Sometimes it gets messy, but guess what Source does? Source is like, oh no, you can't have that. No, don't do that. Don't do that. But does Source stop loving you? No. The source might kick you out the house, metaphorically speaking, because you may go from experiencing certain things in your life that you enjoy to not being able to experience those anymore, right? But that is in the process of training you up to be able to fully enjoy all the things that are available for you, right? So if you just stick around the source energy. Now, how do we do that? To kind of close the circle, right? My puppy, focus is the thing you need. But what do you focus on? You focus on what you want. You focus on what you want. But how, High Priestess, how do I focus on what I want when there's so much shit going on? Yes, High Priestess cussed. I do cuss. Okay, every now and then. I'm not going to lie, I let them fly. But it's so hard. That's where your meditation comes in. That's why you have to meditate. Just 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day. You don't have to go sit in some weird yoga pose, listen to some guru swami, give you some guided man. You don't have to do all that. That's media. That's marketing. That's promoting something, right? That's somebody's opinion. At the end of the day, the root of the source of the question I always am asking is, how little can I do? Yeah, I'm lazy. I'm looking at how little can I do to get the result that I want. Okay. So when it comes to meditation, it's like, how little can you do and really have a result? Do I really need? I went to this one course. It's a 3-day meditation with Sadhguru, and it's like 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes at night for 90 days. Okay. And I did it. And I had some significant spiritual experiences, but on your day to day, do you have time to do that? So do you give up? Do you say, forget it? I can't focus. I'm distracted and I don't have 45 minutes. I can't cross my legs. I can't sit like that. I don't want to do ohms. I just don't. This is what you just calm down. This is what you do. You just sit somewhere for 10 minutes, listen to the air conditioner. That's it. And focus on loosening. What I find is my body tenses up. So what I do is I listen to a vibe, and then I just go through my body. I start at the top, and I sense where I feel stress, and I relax it. I relax all the muscles in my body. So sometimes it'll be like my right leg will be really tense. I'll be like, oh. Sometimes my shoulders will be tense. Oh, I relax my shoulders, my jaws. You'd be surprised your jaws are tense. That's all holding resistance, and resistance prevents you from being able to have that flow of source energy. But if you do that for 10 or 15 minutes, guess what? You will allow the flow of source energy through you, and you can have that a little touch with source energy, just a little touch. And that little touch of the energy that creates worlds will help you to gain focus and know what to do next. It's just that simple, right? So my point is, for my puppy story is focus. I want you to practice focusing. Last week, I gave you homework to focus on and look at your eyes. Did you do that? Call me 313-355-6018. Let me know if you did that. Did you do that? Did you? But anyway, I wanted to just let you know the homework for this week, your assignment, if you choose to accept it, is to meditate just 10 minutes a day. And then come back to this video and comment below what your result was. Or you know what? Just let me know you're going to do it. Just make a commitment to do it. That's what we do. Let's start there. Let's start real stupid simple. You're watching this live or on the replay. What I want you to do is I want you to just type in the comments, I'm in. Just let me know you're going to actually do it. Just let me know you're going to do it. And if you want to have a guided meditation, I have one, but you don't need one. You can just find the sound. You can get, you can get different programs and things that will let you do that, like listen to different sounds. Just do that. Okay? So listen, you have been watching Temple of the Divine TV with me, your hostess, High Priestess Makita Divine. I'm so glad you're here for Real Talk on the Wall, streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and other top social media platforms. WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world. See you next time here at 3 p.m. on Saturday. WJZZ Cool TV, the coolest station in the world.